Okay, so apparently this woman thinks that bisexuality is transphobic or whatever. I do not have any idea how she came to this conclusion, but I'll be watching this video with you and just giving my basic 2p about it.
So as a bisexual, I get a lot of comments and questions on my Tumblr or my YouTube or all of the various social medias asking me why I...
Never say social medias. That makes you sound dumb as a brick. Like, seriously, nobody says that. Or at least nobody with over 5 brain cells.
Personally choose to identify as bisexual. Obviously, I can't speak for every bisexual person, but as an individual, singular bisexual out of many bisexuals across the globe, I'm going to answer that question to the best of my ability. I feel like there...
What does this have to do with bisexuality being transphobic?
There are several really important points that are often misunderstood about bisexuality. Number one being that bisexual means two, so you're only attracted to...
No, bi, as it means to, like bicycle, meaning two, and I think probably wheels. I don't exactly know the exact origin of the name for bicycle, but I do know bi means two, like biannual, every two. Happens twice every so often. So bi itself means two, and sexual, in this case we're talking about biological sex, if you want to call it that, just to clear up any confusion. So male or female.
Two genders. But there are two alternative definitions for bisexuality.
No, there isn't.
That have come into popularity more recently that I actually prefer. So the first one is that bisexuality means attraction to two or more genders.
No, it's to do with biological sex, not your genders in your head.
And the second one,
that would to be attracted to that as well as women, that would be pansexual.
Is that bisexual means attraction to same and different genders. There's probably nuanced differences between those two definitions, but I think they're pretty similar, and that's usually how I describe my own sexual orientation.
Then you're pansexual. Bisexual means you're attracted to men and women. Pansexual means that you're attracted to anybody of any sex or gender.
I don't know what I was pointing to. Is it my boobs, I guess? So for me, my bisexuality means that I'm attracted to people of the same gender. I'm a woman, so women, and people of other genders, like men, or non-binary people, or gender-fluid people, etc., etc. If you're cute and funny and we get along, then there's a possibility that I'm attracted to you.
No shit, Sherlock.
Basically. Number two misconception that I get about that is that if you use that definition of bisexual, then you're actually using it incorrectly, and you should really label yourself as pansexual.
Yeah, that's pretty much correct, being as, like I said, bisexual is sexual attraction to boys and girls, and pansexual is sexual attraction to anybody despite their what they identify as and their gender.
And to that, I say, don't tell me what to do. I think it's really important to honor the terms that people feel like fits them best.
Well, no, because then you could literally just come up with any term, and then the meaning of any words out there would lose all literal meaning, because you could make any word out to be whatever you wanted it to be. Like, you could change the N word to mean friend by this train of logic, and try calling someone your friend the N word and not get any ever living shit beaten out of you. Yeah, that's going to be next to impossible. The reason why we have definitions of words is so everybody knows what we are talking about when we are saying that word. to say that you can just change the definition of a word by whim whenever you want, basically is basically going against the idea and the sole purpose of having the definition of a word. Now, I will say a definition isn't always perfectly accurate to what is talking about. Like, the definition for feminism is right. Let me. I'm gonna try and remember this as best as I can. It is the belief that women are equal to men socially and economically. Now, that's a definition of feminism, but what feminism itself has become nowadays, due to the feminist in it, it's quite different with stuff like what was it called, feminist speak or whatever, and you basically it's changed a lot since its inception, and the dictionary definition doesn't very well match up with the what is actually going on with feminism nowadays. And here's the thing: feminists don't. Well, it's not they don't like the definitions; they have a sort of iffy relationship with definitions. Like with the feminist the definition of feminism, they love to say that just like, this is what feminism means, so you can't criticize us, otherwise you don't think like women and men should be equal socially and economically. But then they don't like the dictionary definition of gender or sex, or one of the two, because it doesn't line up with their view of the world. So they are very quick to dismiss definitions when they feel like it. But when they don't feel like it, they will quite often cite dictionary definitions as infallible truths of what is going on with that organisation, and it is very double standard of them to do so.
And if they say I'm bisexual, or if they say I'm pansexual, then it's probably good to respect that. Also, because people use different definitions for pansexuality and bisexuality, it can be hard to make like hard and fast distinctions between the two.
Well, if you ask most people what pansexuality is, they will say it is the attraction to anybody despite their gender or sexuality. And if you ask most people, they will say that bisexuality is the sexual attraction to men and women. Nobody that is sane will say that bisexuality and the pansexuality can be, interchanged at all, because there is, like feminists like to say, there is a wide variety of social genders, like I like to call them, and only two biological genders, meaning that bisexuality and pansexuality are good to keep separate, because then you have bisexuality where you're attracted to men and women, but not exactly like transsexuals or just like some or most of the other sexualities out that are social constructs. And it's good for pansexuality, because that means you're basically good to have pansexuality, because that means you're attracted to all of them. And like I said, these words just make it easier for us to not get confused about what people are saying and what they're actually interested in. Like, if you say that someone's just like, I'm pansexual, but in their head they think that's interchangeable with asexuality, which is basically you're not attracted to anybody, then that would cause a lot of confusions down the line, and this would lead to what social justice warriors would define as sexual assault. Like that woman who claims she was sexually assaulted in the elevator when that guy asked her who she had been, the guy that she had been drinking with in the pub all night, asked her if she would like to go back to his room for coffee, only merely insinuating the possibility of sex. So it's just a lot cleaner to have defined the definitions of words, so everybody knows exactly what is going on when someone says that word.
I know that some people identify with pansexuality more because for them, gender doesn't play into their experience of attraction. They like people regardless of gender.
Mm-hmm. And that's where pansexuality and bisexuality differs, as I have said multiple times now, and I probably sound like a broken record. But like I said, bisexuality is attraction to boys and girls. Pansexuality is attraction to all everything boys, girls, and all the socially constructed genders.
And then I know bisexual people who use the term bisexual to mean that they're attracted to different genders, but gender does affect their attraction. So
typically bisexual people only go out with men and women, and if they don't go out with just men and women, then they're pansexual. Is literally the definition. Why?
That way, I guess gender probably affect my attraction. I can be attracted to people regardless of gender, but also the way.
Well, then you're pansexual if you're attracted to more than just men and women. Like I said, the definitions of those words, basically mean bisexual, men and women, pansexual, just by everybody.
The way that I feel attraction to them might have to do with how much they express femininity or masculinity or neither. Yeah.
Like the only other thing that I would even say that you could be attracted to and still be bisexual is technically transsexuals, because they're basically just the gender they identify as, but they were born a different gender, so it's just like they still identify as a male or female, but they were born the opposite gender than what they currently identify as. So you could loosely say that bisexuality could also encompass transsexuals, if you wanted to. Then that would just lead to a whole other debate, like should you count them in it, and it's just like not something I want to go into right now.
But again, no hard and fast rules. I am not the authority on bisexuality, and I'm definitely not the authority on pansexuality.
Then why are you making this video?
Number 3 misconception is that the term bisexual is transphobic because you're excluding non-binary or gender non-conforming trans.
Well, here's the thing. The definition, well, not really the definition of transphobic, but the definition of any phobia is the hatred or flat out resentment of the thing. So the definition of transphobia would be hatred or straight out resentment of transsexual people. And bisexual people and bisexuality itself is not against trans people. It's just that they're not attracted to trans people, unless you want to say that if you're not attracted to trans people, then you are transphobic. But then you're going into a whole big debate on whether we should force people to be sexually inclusive with trans people, and that's just encroaching on free will, and it's just a whole big mess, which again I won't go into right now.
Trans people from your dating pool, and I think based on what we just discussed, that's not necessarily true, because I'm bisexual and I'm attracted to people who don't identify as binary.
Well, like I said, you could stretch bisexuality out just far enough to squeeze trans people in there, but that's as far as you can get it. Like bisexuality, as in the name suggests, meaning two, and sexes as in biological sexes, and like I said, you can barely squeeze transsexuality in there. But if you cannot add another social add a social gender into there, because that is not what the word means.
Men or women. So I don't really know what they're talking about. I'm sure that transphobic bisexual people exist. Actually, definitely transphobic bisexual.
There's transphobic people just about. There will be at least one transphobic person in every group that's not trans. That's not the trans community. Heck, debatably, even in the trans community, like some weird, like some people are crazy, and like there's probably somebody who'll find a loophole to be transsexual but hate trans people, or they decided to become transsexual at a really early age, and now they hate the fact that they did because they don't actually feel like a trans. They were just like a tomboy or something when they were younger, I guess.
People exist, but I think it also comes from a misunderstanding of how people define bisexuality, and that there are alternative.
The only misunderstanding here is the fact that you think bisexuality can encompass social constructed genders such as non-binary and gender fluid. And like I said, you can barely squeeze. You could barely debatably, you can barely squeeze trans people into there. But like I said, that's a whole another discussion on whether trans people are actually men or women.
Alternative definitions for the word doesn't just mean that you're only attracted to cis men and cis women. Being bisexual just means that you are attracted to at least two genders, but it could be more than two. And those two genders.
No, like I said, bisexual bi means two.
Don't even necessarily need to be like men and women. I mean, theoretically, you could be a woman attracted to women and like agender people. You know, it doesn't even necessarily mean that you're
You mean asexual? Or is agender? I don't know. I'm not up to date with all these buzzwords, genders and stuff, whatever. If she actually means asexual, then I doubt asexual people will be sexually, involved with anybody, being as they're at best not interested, at worst they find the idea of sex physically repulsive, mind you. I can sort of understand that because it's essentially just two sweaty people mashing their bodies together until white sticky stuff comes out. So. And it gets very sweaty, so yeah, I can understand that to a bit.
Only attracted to boys and girls. The last point I want to touch on is why I personally started identifying with the term bisexual, and that was just simply because in high school, bisexuality was the first term that I heard. I don't think I knew what pansexuality was until college, but
You stupid person. Right, so you heard bisexuality, and no doubtably your friends or whoever was told you it means that you are sexually attracted to men and women. But you didn't, instead of asking, is there one for all genders or whatever, you was just like, oh well, that can encompass all genders, and instead of actually finding out what pansexuality, and then that's been so deeply ingrained into your mind by this point that you're just refusing to let go of it. So you're just coming up with this whole load of nonsense, which is this video.
By then I'd already kind of been questioning if I was bisexual, and I had grown a little bit attached to the term, I guess. Women that I had crushes on in high school identified as bisexual, so I felt like some solidarity in that. I don't know, when I was questioning my sexuality in high school, bisexual was the only term that I had. I already felt...
Well, I don't know how old she is. She looks like in early 20s. But so so if she was in high school, that's basically almost American college. So she would have been about 16ish, let's say. So that's like 4 years ago. So the internet would have been around then. So why just Google it. Just Google definition of bisexuality or different sexualities.
Pretty attached to it, and women that I had, I guess girls at the time because I was in high school, girls that I had crushes on, pretty much all identified as bisexual. To be fair, there weren't a lot of like LGBT people at my school, but I guess I just felt a sense of solidarity with that, knowing that.
Well, at my college, I know there's one bi and one gay, but that's all I know. Oh, there's also one lesbian.
There were cool girls who were bisexual at my school, and I liked their faces. I don't know. Something about the word bisexual, it just like feels more comfortable for me. Like, I guess you could technically call me pansexual, but I don't really like use that term for myself. And
well, like I said, if you're just gonna redefine the meaning of a word, then what's the point of having the definition of a word in the first place? And being as you have said, as you just said, you could, and it's not so much as you could call yourself pansexual as you should call yourself pansexual. Otherwise, that's going to be really confusing. Because if you meet a nice like transgendered person or non-binary person, and like most people, they know and go by the normal dictionary definition of bisexual. If you tell them you're bisexual, they will think, oh well, she's only interested in men and women, and I'm X, so she probably won't be interested in me. So just making up these just redefining. Find out why can I not speak today? Just redefining these words can really do a lot of harm in the long run, because then they're just like, oh, they're not going to be interested in me, so they're not even going to like even try to flirt or get with you, or at least I should hope not. So they're probably going to be pretty much blind to any flirting you do. So then you're probably going to think that they're not interested in you, even though you said you're bisexual, and you think bisexuality means that you're interested in all genders. Now, then you probably would never get together because of a misunderstanding. But if you had said pansexual, they would know that you are interested in all genders, and that then they would be like, oh, so she's probably interested in me. Then you start flirting, and then you've like got a nice X, wherever they identify as. So that's a scenario where giving your words your own definitions can be detrimental.
I don't really mesh with it. I don't think it would be incorrect to call me pansexual, but I prefer bisexual.
Well, here's the thing. It's not what you prefer. It's what you are based off how you feel. And I never thought I would be justifying an argument by using feelings. Yeah. But you feel sexual towards more than just men and women and transsexuals, if you want to count transsexuals, because, like I said, they don't. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that right now. Then you are pansexual. And like I said, but only calling yourself bisexual can only hurt your chances of actually finding somebody who is not a man, woman, or maybe trans. Like I said, not getting into that. I really don't feel like redefining words, because some random person on the internet, prefers the word to have a different definition.
And that's like a thing I never understood until I came out. I was like, what does it mean to feel like an attachment to a certain word? Why does it matter? But I think words do matter, and I think it's really important to let people define themselves with the words of their choosing, because it can be a form of empowerment. And
you can choose any word you want to define yourself. You can define yourself as an attack helicopter for all I care. But as long as you use those words within there define the boundaries, then I have no problem. But when you start going like, oh well, I prefer it to have this definition, that's when I have problems.
And if it makes them feel good, then it's good to respect that. And with that, I'm gonna go. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this one. Also,
anyway, so that's the end of her video. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Just saw this, I'm just like, yeah, no, this is stupid. And I either made a video, yes, and I tried, not like I didn't try to make a video, I tried playing this old PC game, Pokemon World, but it didn't work properly, so but I did actually manage to get a couple of songs off it. That's oh, pardon me. Which is actually pretty good quality on it, surprisingly. But you know, just all this, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna have to make a video on this. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.